All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the difference between what is an arithmetic sequence and series and what is a geometric sequence and series. So we need to understand the terminology that we have. So the first off is we are going to understand the terminology between arithmetic and geometric. All right, so let's think back to math operations. And let's start with the very simplest math operations. The very simplest math operation is just counting. That's what you learn in kindergarten, grade 1, even before kindergarten, you learn how to count. Probably when you're 2 years old, you start learning how to count. Then you learn how to count faster by adding and its opposite, subtraction. And that allows you to count, to count up by 4, add 4 to something, or add 27 to something quickly and easily. Then you learn how to do repeated addition, and repeated addition is just multiplication, and repeated division, or repeated subtraction is just division. All right, so we learn these operations. Then after multiplication and division, you learn how to do powers and square roots. Now, we aren't dealing with powers and square roots, and we're not dealing with counting simply by 1, although you can consider counting by 1 an arithmetic sequence. But when I use the term in this unit arithmetic, I am referring to adding and subtracting. So this is arithmetic. Arithmetic refers to adding and subtracting. And when I use the term geometric, I'm referring to multiplying and dividing. So this is geometric. Right, so arithmetic is going to refer to addition and subtraction, and geometric is going to refer to multiplication and division. Now, the next thing we have to understand is the difference between a sequence and a series. All right, a sequence is just a list of numbers that follow a regular pattern. A list of numbers that follow a regular pattern. So an example of a sequence might be 2, 4, 6, 8, ... The regular pattern is you're adding 2 each time. We call the 2 the first number. That's the first number. Another example of a sequence might be this one. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, ... So you can see we're going up by a factor of 10 each time. We call the 1 the first number. So a sequence is just a list of numbers that follow a regular pattern. That pattern can be complicated or simple. We're generally dealing with simple patterns. So that is the sequence. Now, the series. A series this is a list of numbers that follow a regular pattern and you add up the numbers. So we're adding up all of the numbers in a sequence. So an example, well, we could do 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus ... and keep going. Although this one doesn't really give us an answer, right? There's an infinite number of numbers, and we're just adding them up. We're going to get an answer that's infinite in size. So this example here is not interesting. This equals infinity. Here's another example. 1 plus 10 plus 100 plus 1,000 plus ... Again, this one is not that interesting because this one also adds up to infinity. Keeps getting bigger and bigger. So now we can put these two together and we can fill in this grid. So what is an arithmetic sequence? Well, it's just a list of numbers. So the sequence part is the list of numbers. Arithmetic means we're adding or subtracting to get to the next number. So here's an example. 5, 10, 15, 20, ... That's an arithmetic sequence. You can see that our first number is 5, and we are adding 5 each time. So this is arithmetic because we're adding each time. Here's another example. I'll just do this other example in a different color so it's easier to see. 100, 90, 80, ... You can see in this one, 100 is our first number, and we are taking away 10 each time. So it's a sequence because it's just a list of numbers. It's arithmetic because we're adding or subtracting. Now, a geometric sequence, again, this is just a list of numbers. But instead of adding or subtracting to get our next number, we're multiplying or dividing. So example, 3, 9, 27, 81, ... It keeps going on forever. This is our first number, and we are multiplying by 3 each time. Here's another example. 200, 100, 50, 25, ... You can see in this one, our first number is 200, and we are dividing by 2 each time, or timesing by 1/2. Both of those work. And you need to be able to understand them both ways. Now, a series is when you add them up. So an example of an arithmetic series, remember, a series is we add up a list of numbers. Arithmetic means addition or subtraction is the definition for that list of numbers. So here's an example, 9, 12, then I guess 15. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. It would be 9 plus 12 plus 15 plus 18, ... Right, we're adding them up. Now, of course, this one is uninteresting because it equals infinity. And often what we do is we just add up a portion of the series. Okay, we don't add up the whole series, we add up a portion of the series. That's what often happens. Here's another example. And we'll do a negative one, we'll do a subtraction one each time. 0. Subtract 5, subtract 10, subtract 15. Now I'm not adding here, I'm subtracting. But I could write this one as 0 plus -5 plus -10 plus -15. So again, this one is uninteresting because this one is equal to -infinity. But what happens is we usually just take a portion of them and add them up. All right, so likewise, we can have geometric series. So geometric means we're going to multiply or divide to get the next number, and a series means we're going to add them up. So here would be an example. We are going to start with, let's say, 2. Then we're going to add to it 8. Then we're going to add to it 32. And then we're going to add to it, I'm multiplying by 4 each time. So that'd be 128, ... Again, this one's uninteresting. Right? It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're going to equal infinity. But again, we can limit ourselves to adding up only a certain amount of the series. And now here's a really interesting one that is very famous. It is 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16 plus ... This one is very famous, and this one is interesting. You can see how each term, we take 1/2 and we times it by 1/2 to get 1/4. Then we take 1/4 and we times it by 1/2 to get 1/8. Now this one is interesting because it does not equal infinity. This one equals a regular number. All right, so you should understand arithmetic sequence. We start with a first number, we add or subtract each time. A geometric sequence, it's a list of numbers. We start with a first number, and we multiply or divide to get the next one. A series means we add them up. Now, there is a third type of pattern. This is a recursive pattern. We're not going to explore it too much. But in a recursive pattern, we usually start with 2 numbers. So here's the most famous Fibonacci sequence. It starts with 2 numbers, a 1 and a 1. Then to get the next number, we take this one and this one, we add them up to get the next one. So this would be a 2. Now to get the next number, we take this one, and we add them up. And we get 3. Then to get the next one, we take this one, and we add them up to get 5. Then for the next one, we take this one, and we add them up to get 8. ... That pattern continues. This is called a recursive pattern. We're not going to study it in this unit, but it is nice to know what it is. All right, so by the end of this video, you should know what an arithmetic sequence is, what an arithmetic series is, what a geometric sequence is, and what a geometric series is. You should also know what recursive sequences are and be able to give examples of each one. Right? And that's all for this page.